Your host. I am a Catholic priest in ministry as a pastor of a large parish near Los Angeles. We discuss Catholic topics and invite you to participate by praying with us now. Let's bow our heads for a moment in silent prayer. And now we say together, glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. Blessings to all our listeners today, especially those who are in need of our prayers and God's mercy and love. I'll be right here on the air every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Time. Good evening. This is Father John Higgins with Real Talk. It's been a kind of an interesting day for me. I've been having some back and hip problems, and I went and got an epidural shot in my spine. So that was just a couple of hours ago. I'm feeling a little sleepy, so if you see me kind of drifting off, it's because I went and got an epidural shot today. But I feel really good. The pain in my back and so forth is subsiding, I think, even as we speak. So the miracles of modern medicine, it's wonderful. This evening we're going to be talking about young people and sometimes their journey, which is the journey in their own lives, the journey towards Christ, the journey towards heaven. Sometimes it takes a little detour. It often takes a little detour. It did for me, and it does for other people. We're going to be talking about that journey and what we as Catholics, what our responsibility is in how we treat those young folks who are on a spiritual journey that may vary from Catholic Church teaching. They go one direction, and we think they should stick on a straight and narrow path. But looking back at my own life, and many of you may have the same kind of experience, we journeyed too, and we went off and did other things. There's a wonderful story in the scriptures. It's called the story of the prodigal son. I like to call it the story of the prodigal father, because the father really is the prodigy here. Most of you know it. There's a young man who goes to his father and says, "Father, give me my inheritance." And the father does. So he gives him a good chunk of money. And he goes off to a city far away where he has a great time. He squanders all of his money. When there's a famine in the land, he is caught without any food, without any means of support, and somebody gives him a job feeding pigs. Now, for Jews, that would be a horrible job because they don't want anything to do with pigs. So he's feeding the lowest of the low animals. And as he's feeding the animals, he says to himself, and he comes to his senses, Jesus says, and he says, "I should return to my father. Plenty of servants on his farm. His place have plenty to eat, and here I am feeding pigs." So he goes to his father, and as his father catches sight of him long, long away, he jumps up and runs to him and puts on him the royal cloak and a ring on his finger and says, "We're slaughter the fattened calf we are going to celebrate tonight." That kind of fatherly love is often what a young person needs. Now, it takes form in different ways. So we're going to be talking about welcoming those who have left the church back. And it could be a temporary leaving of just a few minutes, or it could be several years like it was in my own case. If you'd like to make comments or questions later on in the show, please write this number down, 562-217-4799. That's 562-217-4799. You can call in anonymously. You can just say where you're from, or just say, I'm an interested Catholic. Sometimes it's a little intimidating speaking publicly in front of lots of people. When we welcome young people home, I think it's important for us to keep in mind that each of us welcomes them in our own way. I had an experience when I left the church. I joined the church in 1969, and pretty soon thereafter, I went on to a junior college and did lots of things. I joined a fraternity, I partied, I had too many beers, I had too many pizzas, I had too many nights out, I had too many girlfriends, too many of everything, it seemed. Beach, mountains, skiing, all kinds of things. I got into some sports, and I wanted to stay a Catholic. I remember there was a crucifix in my room, and I would look at it and feel guilty. When I finally did come to my senses, and I realized that an experience that I had at the Colorado River, that I needed to go back to the church, I went back to Our Lady of Perpetual Help Church in Downey, where I had been baptized. It's the parish right north of us right now. I walked into that church on a Saturday afternoon, And something happened to me that was a tremendous, tremendous event in my life, a tremendous impact on me. I got in line for confession. I saw there was a Monsignor Walsh and a Father Walker, so I figured the Monsignor would be a little bit more tough, and Father Walker sounded a little bit more friendly, so I got in line in Father Walker's line. I went into the confessional and knelt, and I didn't really know exactly what to do. I was confused, and I said, "Father, I need a little help. I'm a convert." And he says, "Oh, that's all right. I'll help you." I said, "It's been 4 years since my last confession." He said, "You're a convert, and you haven't been to confession for 4 years?" I said, "No, Father, I haven't." And at that point, he yelled at me. And that might sound wrong, but the way he yelled at me was loving and masculine and strong. He pounded on the confessional wall and said, "Don't ever leave the church again. We love you." And I'd never been yelled at like that before. I'd been yelled at by my stepdad, which was not a good experience. This masculine yelling was a good experience for me. Call me a little crazy, but it was a sign of that passionate love of Christ expressed in a very male way. And it changed me. I confessed my sins to him, and I felt really tremendously loved by Christ. Each one of us is going to experience that kind of thing in a different way, whether we're a person who's wandered from the church and are looking back to come back home, or whether we're a person who's a practicing Catholic and gets put into positions where we can be of ministry to those who have left the church. And maybe they haven't left completely, maybe they're just wandering, but they're still Catholic down deep inside, and they want to come home. How do we handle that? I think each one of us needs to pray, because there are a lot of Catholics today who no longer go to Mass, who no longer come to the sacraments. And if they do come to Mass or the sacraments, it's occasionally for a funeral or a wedding or a baptism, and they don't have much relationship and touch with the Catholic Church. They feel intimidated by it, and they don't know quite what to do. And they might even feel guilty, even as they sit there at Mass, and they might express it in ways that we don't understand. But I really believe that we need to be very compassionate with those folks and welcoming. When I say compassionate, I don't mean always gentle and tender and, quote, nice. Sometimes it needs some pretty tough kinds of talk, but I think that tough kind of talk always needs to be loving, always needs to be kind, always needs to be the words that Christ would speak to someone who feels that they're a sinner that's not deserved of Christ's love. If you have any comments or questions, we're going to be taking those later, but I just wanted to open our discussion this evening with how we deal with people who have left the church. Now, some of you may already know somebody in your life who's on that spiritual journey, and they may be experiencing another religion, they may be experiencing party, they may be experiencing radical secularism in a college, they might be experiencing atheism, they may have declared themselves an agnostic, or they may have said, "I'm giving up on religion, I don't believe in organized religion." And you're wondering, what can I do? I think, first of all, we need to pray for them and continue to love them, and to be willing to welcome them home no matter what, and to challenge them in a way that they can understand. There have been people in my life that I look at, and I know that they're wandering away from Christ. And because I've done that myself, through alcohol and through this experience of leaving the church and not going to Mass, I'm not very judgmental with those kinds of folks. They're lost and confused. It's different than those people who have made a stand against the church. Those people who are denying that the church is real. Those people who have made what they would consider a mature decision. And I think that grace of healing that I've received, of coming back to the church, of being recovered in my alcoholism, has given me a sense of compassion for those who are wandering. I think that's very important for us to remember. And I hear confessions often of people who will tell me, I've been away from the church for 5 years or 10 years or 20 or 30 years. As priests, sometimes on Saturday evenings we get together for dinner, and church law and our morality would prevent us from ever telling somebody's sin to one another. We talk in general about sins and about the confessions. We'll say, "I had a really good confession tonight. The person was away for 25 years." And we'll go, "Oh my goodness, that was wonderful." We don't tell what the sins were, but sometimes we'll rejoice in the fact that somebody has returned to the church after so long. And that's a common occurrence. I've sat with priests lots of times. They'll come in from the confessional just joyful that somebody had returned to the church through the sacrament of reconciliation. I've also been in the confessional when people have come in and not known what to do. I'll never forget an experience I had up in Santa Maria. I was sitting in the confessional and a man came in, kind of a big, tough, looked like a big, tough Mexican farm worker guy. And he sat down and he says, in Spanish, he says, "I don't really know what to do." And I said, "Well, that's why you're here. You know, you're here not because you've got it all put together, but because you need some guidance and love." And he looked at me like I was crazy. I said, "That's my job, is to help you know what to do. So let me lead. Let me just tell you what to do. I'll guide you through this experience." And he looked at me like I was a little crazy, but then he realized that, you know, he needed Christ's love. And it wasn't about knowing what to do. It was knowing where to be and how to say that he was sorry and bookie into his own life. We're going to be taking a break in just a couple minutes. When we come back, we have a guest with us this evening. His name is Hugo, and he's going to be joining me in discussing this topic. So please come back. The phone number to call a little later is 562-217-4799. God bless.
Don't let the opportunity of a lifetime pass you by. We at Today's Realty and Loans are here to make your dreams become a reality. Rates are at a record low. Now is the time to act. Call us at 562-862-0777. Free pre-approvals and credit report when you mention Father John. Today's Realty and Loans is here to simplify the buying and selling process. Please call us at 562-862-0777. And don't forget to ask about our no closing cost loans. Lo podemos ayudar en su propio idioma para compra y venta de propiedades y refinanciamiento.
Juice, I heard you were at a party the other day and the DJ completely destroyed the party.
That's right, Pac-Man. I was checking out his skills. They were not there. Didn't know how to MC. Lighting sucked. And guess what? There was cables showing everywhere. What up with that?
You know what, man? Cable management is really important. And when a DJ can't talk on the mic, what's the point? A DJ really has to know how to rock the party.
He needs to MC. He needs to take control of the party. So, folks, listen closely. If you're in the market for a DJ, if you have an upcoming wedding, quinceañera, birthday party, any kind of an event where the DJ will make the difference, make sure to check us out, escevents.com.
Computer repair done right. Have a virus? Is your computer too slow? Call us at 562-381-2702. Let our team handle it. We can get your computer back to normal, and with our $19.99 optimization package, your computer will be better than ever. Call 562-381-2702 or visit our website, pcsmartteam.com. Hey Juice, when was the last time you went swimming at a friend's house?
Just the other day. Why? What's up?
Well, the other day I went to my friend's house to go swimming, but it was all green, man.
Oh, I know exactly what you need. You need to go talk to my friend Chris Anderson over at Chris Anderson Pool and Spa. He can help you out with algae, filter problems, weekly cleanings, pretty much anything to do with pools and spas.
What's that number, bro?
Give him a call at 310-500-7439. Again, the number is 310-500-7439. Hey Pac-Man, I've got a big problem. This weekend is my brother's prom, but we can't afford to buy him a tux.
What you need to do is go see my friend over at Downey Brand Tux. They've got great deals on a huge variety of outfits. Anytime I DJ a wedding or a quince, I go to Downey Brand Tux and always get hooked up. So go check them out and mention Emix Radio and they'll hook you up too.
That sounds perfect. Where can I find them?
Go check them out at go2rentatux.com. That is rentatux.com.
Poor Ben is only 20 years old, but has the spine of a 7-year-old man. Ben tried medicine, acupuncture, physical therapy, and even other chiropractors. Now Ben, after only 6 weeks of care, is almost pain-free and is going back to the gym. A chiropractor is like a surgeon. You need to research and get references to see if they have a good set of hands. At the chiropractic office of Dr. Mariscal, we cater to everyone. And remember, by appointment or by chance, we're always glad to see you back. To set up an appointment, go to drmariscal.com.
Welcome back. We have something new for the show tonight, and the deal we have with the owner of the studio is whenever we do something new, he has to buy everybody in the studio ice cream. So we're looking forward to that after the show. Our guest this evening actually works here. His name is Hugo, And he was raised Catholic. His parents are very involved in church ministry and in the Catholic Church. Hugo's been an altar server, involved in youth ministry. As a matter of fact, the church that he was involved in was the church that I used to throw rocks at when I was a little kid, St. Emilius in Linwood. That's not where we found him. He kind of found us, and he's on a journey right now, a spiritual journey, and so I thought I'd introduce him, Hugo. It's very good to have you with us.
Good afternoon, Father. It's a pleasure to have me on your show.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. But I'd like to ask you to tell a little bit of your story and
Sure.
Tell us where you are and what.
Sure, I'll be very happy. First of all, congratulations on your radio show. I'm sure you're reaching out to people who actually enjoy and need this, and I'm glad you're using social media and now online radio, which is a great way to communicate, to the world. It doesn't limit you to a certain, radius of miles. Right. It's around the world. Well, like Father John here introduced me, I'm not so much of a young Catholic anymore. I'm 28.
I'm 64. You're still young.
Okay, I'm a young Catholic. I was raised a very close Catholic as a child. I was baptized in the church. My parents themselves met in the church at a church choir, I believe back in the 70s. San Emilios is where they met each other, and from there, this huge group of young Catholics married each other. The couples were happy, and to the day, they're still very successful. They're still together, most of them. I'm sure they have their ups and downs as couples, as married couples, but they're still hanging in there. So I was raised really close to the church with Father Javier Alvarez. He was part of San Emilios, and I was baptized there. My mom always, had me involved somehow in the church. Eventually, I became an altar boy in the church, and it was one of the best years of my life. It was a little crazy. I was a little bit of a rebel as a child, and being an altar boy kind of helped me, stay focused. But I also built my little crew within the church of altar boys. That was always fun. To me, Saturdays were always a day to be happy and be out of the house. I wasn't really involved in sports or after-school activities. Church was my after-school activity, and it was Saturdays when I was able to, hang out with all my young friends. I believe I started when I was 9 years old as an altar boy, and I left when I was 12, 13. And I left because I started to became teased at school because I would be an altar boy. Can you believe that?
Yeah,
I'm sure you can. At the time, that did affect me. Right now, I could care less. I'm the complete opposite. I'll be proud to say, I do belong to this ministry. At that age, it was a little tough. Anyways, I was really, really proud to be very happy to, for my Saturdays, we would go out. We would get breaks during our altar boy service hours, and we'd go to the local store, play arcade games, regular teenage stuff. Sometimes we got a little too wild. I don't know. I'm going to say those specific stories on your radio show, but it was still young, healthy, young adult fun. Yeah. And I really enjoy San Emilios. Anyways, when I decided to leave the altar boy services, I started hanging out with different people, different friends. Everyone had their own idea of being cool and popular. I was a bit I don't know, I kind of kept to myself. I wasn't really the popular one in high school, but I sadly became involved with I guess the tougher crew in school. My grades went straight down. I was a straight A student. It went straight down. I started hanging out with, I guess, a rough crowd, and I became part of that rough crowd at one point. My mother was so scared. She raised me a certain way, and I turned out to be something else. And in high school, my grades are down. I'm getting complaints from teachers, so she was very concerned. I became a complete rebel. And after I graduated from high school, luckily I did graduate from high school, I decided not to go to college, and everything just went downhill. I decided to leave my house. I turned 18, so I thought I had it all. Well, at least I had the legal power to do whatever I wanted because I was an adult. Everyone feels that way, I'm sure, when they're 18. I left my house, and I was, moving out of a friend's house without his parents not even knowing that I was living there. And eventually she found out after a few months. Can you believe it? A few months, I got away.
Must have been a big house.
Well, we were creative. And I got away with that. Eventually, I moved from place to place. I even slept in a park a few times, I remember. And all because I was a rebel, just because I chose not to go back home. The doors were wide open at my house. My parents were looking for me. They wanted me to come back. They wanted to help me out. But I chose not to. Eventually, I made the decision to change my life a bit. And that's when I was about 20 years old, so 2 years after I left my home. And the opportunity came from Mexico, from a family member there to, have me move into Mexico, go to school out there, try to change my life a bit. And I decided to, take that opportunity. So when I came back from my journey in Mexico, but real quick point, in Mexico, I had an aunt who was a Mormon, and she brought me into her services a few times. She invited me,
Yeah.
and it was quite an experience. I respect the Mormon religion, even though it was not my thing.
Yeah.
They're a bit too disciplined for me. I'm not saying Catholics are not disciplined.
We're disciplined in a different way.
In different ways.
Very different.
But, I like Catholics because, we're allowed to drink a little bit of beer every once in a
Yeah,
while.
we're a family.
Yeah, I like that. So I come back, and thanks to my cousin Francisco Sandoval, he's the one running the tech board back here and the radio show. He invited me. Part of a business journey was to become a DJ, and we became business partners. He at the time wasn't too close to the church, but eventually he did become very close to the church. And now for the past year or so, actually more, probably a couple of years now, he's been inviting me to be part of the young adult ministry in St. Raymond's. Mm-hmm. So I have been trying my best to come and become part of the church. I never hated the church. I never had any kind of resentment against the church. If anything, I had a lot of respect for the church. And so I'm happy to be part of it again. I just have a lot of questions now. When I was an altar boy and a teenager, I didn't really knew what questions to ask, or I wasn't that knowledgeable of the church. And now as an older person with more of a, I guess, the right questions, I'm very curious about the church, and I'm willing to start slowly being part of it, and hopefully eventually being more helpful and using social media and whatever power I have in my means to bring young people in to not necessarily the religion, but the faith. Because that's something I never lost. I never lost faith in God. I always believed in God and always defended God, no matter where I was. And even sometimes, when I was lost, I prayed a little bit, and I felt a bit relieved, and I enjoyed it. And to this date, I think prayer is probably one of the most powerful assets that I have, and I think almost everyone has. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy to share this story with you, Father John, and whoever's tuning in and your station today.
Thank you. I know you told me when we were talking beforehand that you had also considered priesthood at one point.
That's right.
And
yes.
How did that go?
You know what? With Father Javier Alvarez, he's the one that kind of sparked that up. He was really he's like the family priest, and he started a ministry of young adults, especially altar boys, who were interested to become a priest. And so it really caught my attention. It really, really, really did. And it was when I was about, when I kind of retired as an altar boy. I guess altar was retired at a very young age.
Some of them do.
It's when I chose not to do it anymore. I think one of the biggest reasons was because I became aware that priests cannot married. And at that age, I was, really considering young girls. And I was attracted to young girls. And
That's
I realized,
good.
You know what? I realized you can't get married. And at that point, you're like, no, I want to get married. I want to have a family one day. So it was that kind of the deal breaker that I chose not to become a priest. And now as an adult, I see how, I guess, it is difficult to go through the vocation of being a priest, and it's not easy. And for that, I thank you for doing this, for all of us, because it is a sacrifice. I see it as sacrifice because you do sacrifice your life, to give to others. But I was considering being a priest, believe it or not. And for the people that know me personally and have not heard this story of me, considering becoming a priest, they're probably freaking out right now and laughing at me because they know I'm, a little bit on the wild side. And I'm sure nobody ever thought or knew that of me.
A lot of my friends, when I decided to go to the seminary, they thought he's flipped his lid, because I spent time at Cerritos College and sitting in the student center playing cards with a hangover or whatever it was, and they looked at me and said, "What are you? You're crazy, You can't be a priest. You've done so and so and so and so and so and so, but God forgives, It's that I think it's natural for a young man to go out and want to, start his own life and to do things on his own. And it's natural for a young man to reject his parents' values, even if they're, in the long run, the values that he finds most important. I think it's kind of the leaving the nest kind of syndrome. I did that. I think most young men that I've ever met have done that. It's not always the right decision, but it's a natural decision that guys go through. And I think it's just part of growing up. And you go out and find that feeding the pigs or doing whatever you were doing just hasn't worked.
Yeah, absolutely. And I sure fed, the pigs, not literally, but, I
Yeah,
felt like I
figuratively.
did. I had, of course, all kinds of jobs without an education,
Yeah.
without a degree that were, of that kind. But I went through it, and I enjoy the experience. I don't regret it. I would probably have done things a bit differently, but I don't regret it because the experience helps me tell my story and it help others.
Exactly.
Hopefully others learn from my lesson, because at this point I'm still struggling, from mistakes that I've done in the past.
Yeah.
And all you got to do is forget about. Well, don't forget about the past. I think it's important to remember the past.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't repeat the same mistake, but just deal with it and keep going. And that's what I'm doing right now. This is my journey right now. I'm trying to go back to the church. Well, I am back in the ministry, my cousin's young adult ministry.
Yeah, good. Our phone number again is 562-217-4799. If you'd like to call in and ask either myself or
My name's Hugo.
Hugo. My brain just stopped.
You can call me DJ Juice if you want.
DJ Juice. They gave me I was out under. My brain just stopped for a second. They gave me a sedation. I was under for an hour and a half.
I have a
ago.
few questions about that after the
Good.
commercials.
So we'll take a commercial break, and we'll do some questions after the commercial break. God bless.
Don't let the opportunity of a lifetime pass you by. We at Today's Realty and Loans are here to make your dreams become a reality. Rates are at a record low. Now is the time to act. Call us at 562-862-0777. Free pre-approvals and credit report when you mention Father John. Today's Realty and Loans is here to simplify the buying and selling process. Please call us at 562-862-0777. And don't forget to ask about our no closing cost loans. Lo podemos ayudar en su propio idioma para compra y venta de propiedades y refinanciamientos.
Juice, I heard you were at a party the other day and the DJ completely destroyed the party.
That's right, Pac-Man. I was checking out his skills. They were not there. Didn't know how to MC. Lighting sucked. And guess what? There was cables showing everywhere. What up with that?
You know what, man? Cable management is really important. And when a DJ can't talk on the mic, what's the point? A DJ really has to know how to rock the party.
He needs to MC. He needs to take control of the party. So, folks, listen closely. If you're in the market for a DJ, if you have an upcoming wedding, quinceañera, birthday party, any kind of an event where the DJ will make the difference, make sure to check us out, escevents.com.
Computer repair done right. Have a virus? Is your computer too slow? Call us at 562-381-2702. Let our team handle it. We can get your computer back to normal, and with our $19.99 optimization package, your computer will be better than ever. Call 562-381-2702 or visit our website, pcsmartteam.com. Hey Juice, when was the last time you went swimming at a friend's house?
Just the other day. Why? What's up?
Well, the other day I went to my friend's house to go swimming, but it was all green, man.
Oh, I know exactly what you need. You need to go talk to my friend Chris Anderson over at Chris Anderson Pool and Spa. He can help you out with algae, filter problems, weekly cleanings, pretty much anything to do with pools and spas.
What's that number, bro?
Give him a call at 310-500-7439. Again, the number is 310-500-7439. Hey, Pac-Man, I've got a big problem. This weekend is my brother's prom, but we can't afford to buy him a tux.
What you need to do is go see my friend over at Downey Rent-A-Tux. They've got great deals on a huge variety of outfits. Anytime I DJ a wedding or a quince, I go to Downey Rent-A-Tux and always get hooked up. So go check them out and mention Emix Radio and they'll hook you up too.
That sounds perfect. Where can I find them?
Go check them out at gotorent2tux.com. That is rent2tux.com.
Poor Ben is only 20 years old, but has the spine of a 7-year-old man. Ben tried medicine, acupuncture, physical therapy, and even other chiropractors. Now, Ben, after only 6 weeks of care, is almost pain-free and is going back to the gym. A chiropractor is like a surgeon. You need to research and get references to see if they have a good set of hands. At the chiropractor office of Dr. Mariscal, we cater to everyone. And remember, by appointment or by chance, we're always glad to see you back. To set up an appointment, go to drmariscal.com.
Welcome back. We're Real Talk with Father John, and our our guest Hugo here this evening. I remembered your name this time. This is good.
Thank you.
My brain is almost working. If you'd like to call in and talk to either Hugo or me with a question or a comment, 562-217-4799. Hugo, during your talk, you were talking about you had questions about the church, and it's one of my favorite things to do is ask questions or answer questions off the cuff. I don't always get the answer, completely right, and sometimes I have to look them up. But would you like to shoot a few just to see how those are? And anybody else who wants to, that'd be good too.
I definitely have a few questions. I think hopefully there are some young people listening out there, that are kind of on the same boat that I am. So if hopefully I'm answering questions that they have as well.
Yeah.
I guess one of the biggest questions that comes to mind is why can a priest not marry, a woman and have a family like other Christian religions as well? I think that was one of the deal breakers when it came to me as a decision to not become a priest, even though I was a young kid. That was a deal breaker at that age. So why is it that the church does not allow, male fathers well, there only is male priests to have a family and married?
It's a historical reason. In about the beginning of the second millennium, the year 1000, the church was in kind of disarray. It was kind of confused. And a lot of priests had families. They were married and had families, and their oldest son was inheriting the property on which the church was built. And so it got to be a problem. The church would lose property to the oldest born son. There were, of course, celibate priests in monasteries, but priests out working like I do amongst the public would have the option, and a lot of them did have wives. And so it became a problem that way. The church was losing lots of property. So the practical side of it was they didn't want to lose church property. Every time a priest died, they'd have to find more property and build another church. It's expensive. The spiritual side was that the priesthood should be a complete dedication to the people of God. And I know Protestant ministers who do a really good job at that, but sometimes their family life suffers, and it's hard to balance that. And so it kind of frees us up to dedicate our lives to, being on call 24/7, 6 days a week. We get 1 day a week off. Being there in the evenings and not deserting our families at home. Being able to go places and have dinners and, by ourselves and not, have a family that the people feel like they have to support. Another thing is that the church in the world today is so used to a celibate priesthood that they're used to paying priests not very much money. And it would really be tough on lots of parishes if they had to pay
that I do understand.
Enough so that the priest could have a wife and family. Children and a house and all that things. Protestant ministers sometimes make $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year. I'm pulling in just about $20,000 a year, which is not, terribly expensive for the parish. They can afford that. Yeah. Catholics are infamous for dropping $1 in the basket. They used to do that in 1940, and they're still doing it in 2013. I know there are a lot of people who don't.
I will have to plead guilty for that.
Yeah. $1 is good enough. They tip more at Denny's than they do at Jesus.
Sad to say, but it is true, and I am guilty
true.
On that.
Yeah.
Could this be part of my confession?
You can't confess you can confess in public. I can just give you absolution in private.
There you go.
So,
thank you.
That is part of it. There are a few male Roman Catholic priests who are married in the church now. They were Anglicans or Lutherans who converted and became priests.
And the church allows that, like the Roman Catholic Church?
The Roman Catholic Church welcomed them and their wives.
I see.
And there's actually an Anglican rite of the Catholic Church now where the priests can be married. And so the Anglican rite, they have just a little bit different prayers than the Roman rite. They're like the Eastern Rite churches, only they're the Anglican Rite Church. They're in union with the Pope, and there aren't very many of them around. I don't know of any in our area. But and I don't think there are going to be too many, but that's an option in
wow,
in the church
I had
right
no idea about that until you brought it up today. Also, I have another question.
Sure.
There's a deacon and there's a priest.
Right.
The deacon could be married, correct?
Right.
And he could also serve mass, right?
No.
He cannot serve mass?
No.
Oh,
he can serve Mass, but he cannot celebrate Mass.
Oh.
Altar boys
What's
serve
the difference?
Mass.
Oh,
Altar boys serve Mass. They're the servants. They help at Mass.
Okay.
A deacon is an ordained minister. I was ordained a deacon before I was ordained a priest. It's one of the steps to priesthood. Some guys are ordained just to diaconate. And if you're married, you can be ordained. But if you're ordained a priest, you cannot get married.
I see.
And deacons have the ministry, their primary ministry is to the poor. They're to do social programs, poor, and then they assist at liturgies and baptisms especially. They help with homilies. They help with gravesides, with wakes before funerals. They help with some liturgical things. But their primary ministry is to the poor because of the book of Acts described the first deacons as taking care of the poor Greeks when they would gather for meals. You know, some of the Greeks wouldn't get any food because they didn't speak Hebrew.
Okay.
And they would complain, we don't, nobody's sharing with us. And so they nominated deacons to go out there and make sure that the Greeks got food at their
So that's the story of
yeah.
the deacons.
Yeah,
Wow,
that's the story
okay.
of deacons. That's where they come from.
I do remember when I was an altar boy, they were allowed to baptize.
Yeah.
Because, I was part of the service at the Mass, and the deacon would do most of the baptisms. And the Hispanic community, there was a lot of baptisms
Oh, yeah.
on Saturdays.
I've done 26 baptisms on
Oh.
a Saturday afternoon.
yeah. And,
I once talked to a deacon who did 75 on a Sunday.
Ooh, was that a record breaker?
Yeah, I think so. But, that's what happens in places where they have big families. We have, welcome lots of babies into the church. It's good for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole, I guess, we come here to marry and create a family. And,
Yeah.
And
It's
hey, us Catholics are doing a good job at it.
Yeah, we're a very family-oriented church,
That's great. Okay, so I have another
Okay,
question,
good.
and I decided to kind of step away from the church or not be so involved in it because I rebelled myself. What do you think the Catholic Church could do to prevent situations like this from happening? I think it cannot be prevented at 100%, never,
Right.
of course. But what can we do to lower those numbers? Again, especially with the Hispanic community. It's sad to see these numbers, increase when you're looking at the Hispanic community who come from Catholic families. Parents are great Catholics, but their kids, their families aren't all there together. I know most of the reasons because they're hardworking and they don't know how to, I guess, balance their time
Right.
between work and between their families. And that's sad to see, but it's true. And I see a lot of young folks who are my age and are in and out of jail who are involved in drugs and the gang activity, the gang life.
Yeah.
What do you think us Catholics, especially leadership like priests and people who are in the ministries of the church, could do to help the families out and help the kids out?
But I think it starts with children. We have done a lousy job teaching the faith to children. And we've got into some pretty, I'd say, lollipops and rainbows theology in the 70s and 80s. And I think that's really affected us. And there was this feeling in the church that there was nothing really right or wrong. You were cool no matter what you did. And I think that's affected lots of family life, that people don't see an obligation as a loving thing. They see an obligation as an old-fashioned thing that's kind of been worn out. And that a husband and wife would honestly sacrifice and love one another and stick together and support their children kind of got tossed out with old-fashioned values. And they're not old-fashioned values, they're good values, and I see that in the Hispanic community. You drive by a park here in Downey, you don't see white people in the park. You see Mexican families, and it's little kids, teenagers, young adults, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, everybody's together.
Big
And I
families.
look at the big family and I go, this is cool, In my family, I got a hug once a year. And I see these Hispanic families that are, they're hanging all over each other as signs of love. And I'm, in a good way, I'm kind of jealous of that. And I think we need to encourage that family bond, that family bond that's really good. And we need to do it through catechesis.
Okay.
That family bond is what Christ wants. It's not just a culture of the Mexican, or South America. It needs to be the Catholic culture.
Okay.
That is what our culture is supposed to be.
Okay.
And to bring that wonderful family value into our lives. And then, on the other hand, actually teach people what the real teachings of the church are. Because there's a lot of superstition, there's a lot of misinformation, there's a lot of things that people believe. If you really want to make it to heaven, you have to say 400 prayers to the Blessed Virgin Mary.
Whoa.
That kind of stuff, And all those obligatory
That's all
things.
it takes?
Yeah.
Can I start right now?
You can start right now, yeah. Those superstition kinds of things. And that, for example, you've got to do this, you've got to do this, you've got to do this in order to be a good Catholic.
Okay.
You're a good Catholic because you're part of the family.
Okay.
And you're learning and accepting God's will. Not that you fulfilled these obligations as rules, but that you are fulfilling the obligations in love.
I see.
You know?
I see. One thing that I've always noticed, for most Catholics, at least, when I was going to church, is that they wanted the in and out services.
Oh, yeah.
And mass, about 1 hour sometimes was already too much. Sadly, I think because the service was not that engaging
Right.
to the community. And then, that's all they want. They don't want to be more involved in the church.
Yeah.
And I think people, once they become involved in the church, as, my parents, as I saw them grow up, they were more knowledgeable about what Catholicism
Yes.
is. And they had answers to, they had rebuttals to other religions or whatnot.
Yeah.
So we're defended about the church, and we're well educated about the church to the day they still are. So how can we bring families into the church, not necessarily on Sundays and during Mass, during the week?
During the week, I think it happens, and we don't take advantage nearly as much when we have a baptism class.
Okay.
When we do baptisms, when we have First Holy Communions, we kind of let people off the hook and say, okay, take your pictures and go home. And when we have a quinceañera, that we allow them to think that that's enough. When the kids are confirmed, we don't bring it home to them that now confirmation is entry into the church rather than graduation from the church.
Okay.
And that when people are in trouble and they need the help of the church, we are right there to help them, but also to say, you're not registered in the parish. We want to register you so that you're part of the family now.
Okay.
And take those opportunities to say, for example, a woman was telling me a few years ago that she was always bored at church. And I gave her 2 suggestions. Change your seat.
Okay.
Because I would see her sitting in the same seat all the time. And I said, decide whether you want to read at Mass or help with Holy Communion.
Okay.
She says, I couldn't do that. I said, then you're going to stay bored at church.
Okay.
If you just sit there and don't get up off your pew, you're going to be bored, no matter how entertaining it is.
That's good advice.
When you're involved, you're part of the community. I can't stand to sit at a Mass. It just drives me nuts. If I'm celebrating Mass or I'm there with other people,
Gotcha.
I'm helping out, I'm fine.
Gotcha.
So,
I guess it's a quick example because I know we're going to commercials quick.
Yeah.
It's for me, I'm a DJ. When I'm at a party, sometimes I get bored. I need to do something. I need to
something. Same
entertain the crowd. I need to DJ and talk in the microphone.
right, exactly. Yeah, you can't just get away with sitting there going, he's really doing a lousy job. He's playing the wrong music. That's how I get as a priest at Mass. And sometimes I've been at Mass where it's really good. But I still tend to get bored because I'm not involved. I'm not involved. So we're about to take another commercial break. If you'd like to call now, we're taking phone calls, 562-217-4799, 562-217-4799. Please come in, call in, and ask Hugo or myself any question you'd like. God bless.
Don't let the opportunity of a lifetime pass you by. We at Today's Realty and Loans are here to make your dreams become a reality. Rates are at a record low. Now is the time to act. Call us at 562-862-0777. Free pre-approvals and credit report when you mention Father John. Today's Realty and Loans is here to simplify the buying and selling process. Please call us at 562-862-0777. And don't forget to ask about our no closing cost loans. Lo podemos ayudar en su propio idioma para compra y venta de propiedades y refinanciamientos.
Juice, I heard you were at a party the other day and the DJ completely destroyed the party.
That's right, Pac-Man. I was checking out his skills. They were not there. Didn't know how to MC. Lighting sucked. And guess what? There was cables showing everywhere. What's up with that?
You know what, man? Cable management is really important. And when a DJ can't talk on the mic, what's the point? A DJ really has to know how to rock the party.
He needs to MC. He needs to take control of the party. So, folks, listen closely. If you're in the market for a DJ, if you have an upcoming wedding, quinceañera, birthday party, any kind of an event where the DJ will make the difference, make sure to check us out, escevents.com.
Computer repair done right. Have a virus? Is your computer too slow? Call us at 562-381-2702. Let our team handle it. We can get your computer back to normal, and with our $19.99 optimization package, your computer will be better than ever. Call 562-381-2702 or visit our website, pcsmartteam.com. Hey Juice, when was the last time you went swimming at a friend's house?
Just the other day. Why? What's up?
Well, the other day I went to my friend's house to go swimming, but it was all green, man.
Oh, I know exactly what you need. You need to go talk to my friend Chris Anderson over at Chris Anderson Pool and Spa. He can help you out with algae, filter problems, weekly cleanings, pretty much anything to do with pools and spas.
What's that number, bro?
Give him a call at 310-500-7439. Again, the number is 310-500-7439. Hey Bagman, I've got a big problem. This weekend is my brother's prom, but we can't afford to buy him a tux.
What you need to do is go see my friend over at Downey Rent Tux. They've got great deals on a huge variety of outfits. Anytime I DJ a wedding or a quince, I go to Downey Rent Tux and always get hooked up. So go check them out and mention Emix Radio and they'll hook you up too.
That sounds perfect. Where can I find them?
Go check them out at go2rentatux.com. That is rentatux.com.
Poor Ben is only 20 years old, but has the spine of a 7-year-old man. Ben tried medicine, acupuncture, physical therapy, and even other chiropractors. Now, Ben, after only 6 weeks of care, is almost pain-free and is going back to the gym. A chiropractor is like a surgeon. You need to research and get references to see if they have a good set of hands. At the chiropractic office of Dr. Mariscal, we cater to everyone. And remember, by appointment or by chance, we're always glad to see you back. To set up an appointment, go to drmariscal.com.
I was at Dr. Mariscal's office this morning, and he sure made me feel better. My back is tweaked. I'm uneven, and I got a bulging vertebrae, and let's not get into too many details, but
ouch.
man, I walked out of there feeling much better. He's a good chiropractor. I'm sitting here talking with Hugo about his walk with the Catholic Church, a little bit away and coming back. He's got some questions about the Catholic Church. We've been talking about that too. If you'd like to ask a question, either of him or of me, 562-217-4799. So Hugo, you've got some more questions. What would you like to ask?
Do. You know, most of the time when I talk to people, when I tell them that I am a Catholic, either they're responding in the good or bad way. When they respond in the bad way, is usually, you know what, Mass used to be so boring. That's the reason I'm not even a Catholic anymore.
Yeah.
I go to other services from other religions, and you know, it's not 1 hour; it's several hours, and it's just fun and entertaining. I love it. I enjoy it. I'm like, you know what? You should have probably involved yourself in the ministry of the church. I'm sure that would have helped a bit because Mass is just the beginning, you know, of you know the church. But even during Mass, as a kid, I still remember. I remember there was a few times where I did get, and I hear this from a lot of people. You know, it's boring. When I go, I guess to me it all depends on the priest. Who's gonna, you know, give the Mass. I've been to your Mass. It's fun. I enjoy it, even though I haven't been in a while. I should go back.
I'll give you my Mass schedule for this weekend.
Okay, I'll be there. I remember when I was a young kid, there was a father. His name was Father Jorge, or George in English, and he was a little bit on the liberal side, but he was so funny, and he kept everyone laughing. At the same time, you know, he involved, you know, religion and God and Christ within his, you know, humor. See, he kept it clean. He was, you know, in church, but it was so entertaining. So what can we do to better, I guess, train or retrain the priest to have better, I don't know, social people skills? I don't know what it takes. Something to, you know, bring, to have Catholics and other people, especially other people, you know, be happy to come to church and, you know, make it fun, you know, make it fun for the people. Yeah. Well, should it be like at a small level, small community church level, or should it be at a higher level where the, you know, the Roman Catholic Church in you know, Italy takes a step into this?
Well, you got to look at your audience. If I'm talking with teens, I'm one way. If I'm with the Italian Catholic Federation, I'm another. Okay. If I'm talking to like the 5 o'clock Mass group, who are largely retirees, I'm a little different. So I think there's a balance there that reverence and keeping people's attention needs to be integral in the Mass.
Okay.
That there are times when people are really serious, and we need to respect and honor that. You know, you can't have a balloon and entertaining Mass at a funeral.
Of course.
But there are other times where, you know, I've given a homily, for example, on a Good Friday with youth ministry and young adults. My homily was, I knelt down in front of the cross and pounded a nail into the wood. That was my homily.
Wow.
You know, it's got to be creative and get their attention.
That was.
And really, you know, it was very stark and real. Other times people want more of an educated approach to what does this scripture really say? Okay. And how does the priest present himself? I try to be energetic without being entertaining at Mass.
That makes a lot of sense.
And
good.
Because it's not a performance, it's a celebration and it's worship. And there's that fine line between the two that involves people so that they're not entertained, but they're brought in. You know, if you're at your mom's house for dinner and it's Christmas, it's not entertainment, it's family. You know, and it's love, and that's kind of what you need there. And you want to be there because it's love, not because it's funny.
Okay.
You know? And part of it can be humor. You know?
Okay, I like that, and hopefully there's still sadly a lot of priests out there who still sound like this.
In the name of the Father and of the Son.
I think that what you said, energy is really important.
Energy.
Another question, I have had a lot of friends ask me, why do Catholics stand up and sit down so many times during Mass?
Because there's so many football game goers there.
I like that answer. I'm going to start using that from now on.
You do that in restaurants.
Score.
Sitting there all the time. We're
Wake you
active. We're active, yeah.
And yeah, that's, I don't know, I hear that a lot. I'm completely used to it. I was raised that way. You know, to me, it's a ceremony. It's there, to celebrate something.
Yeah.
But others don't understand it. And I myself is not the best educated Catholic. What should I tell them?
Well, we're standing because when somebody walks into a room that deserves respect, you stand.
Okay.
You know, if the President of the United States walks into a room, you stand up to shake his hand. You don't, unless you're crippled, you're out of your chair. Okay. You know, we sit to learn. We kneel out of humility and prayer and reverence. So those are the three basic things we do in the Catholic Church. And those positions that we take and the motions that we take are, and I don't want to sound like it's an entertainment, but it really is a dance. The dance of Catholics telling a story in their movements. That's why we don't just say, I believe in God the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. We go like this, you know? And Mexicans go like this.
Especially when they get pulled over.
Yeah. And then they end up by kissing the cross here, and that's an old tradition, and it's a good tradition.
I do
it's got
remember
a lot
that.
of meaning.
I remember that from my grandmother.
Yeah, yeah. That it's that dance that has meaning to people.
Okay.
Without the meaning, it gets lost. I've seen, people come in and go, and there's no meaning in it. Why are they doing it?
That's right.
They're not thinking. But if we have meaning in that, in what we do, and the priest moves in the sanctuary, he turns and washes his hands, he does things. That action of the liturgy that involves us in not just listening, but listening and participating. And it gets us to participate, even when the priest is the most boring, and I've heard some boring homilies. I tell you, I was in Pennsylvania one time, and I wanted to crawl under the pew. The homily was so boring.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I'm talking about. How can we, kind of change that? But I think we have a caller.
We do.
Awesome.
Sometimes we have a little trouble transferring the call because we're not quite used to our machinery yet, but here it comes. Hello, this is Father John.
Hi, Father John.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good.
Hi, is this who I think it is?
This is Sam.
Hi, Samantha. Thank you so much for calling in. Have you been
How are you
listening?
guys?
Have you been listening to the show by any chance, or you just called in?
I know that you guys are talking about Catholics coming back to church.
Mm-hmm. So what would you like to ask, or what comment do you have?
I kind of want, how is it that, how do you deal with the I guess, prejudice or the opinions of other people when you come back to church? How does it, I know that people shouldn't judge, but it's really difficult sometimes. And how would it be easier, I guess, to just kind of come back to church?
I think you broke up just a little bit. What your question was, how do you deal with prejudices against people who are coming back to the church, right?
Yes.
Yeah. When I came back to the church the first time I went back in, I don't know if you heard the story. I went to confession, and I stood in line of confession, and I could just tell all the Catholics knew that I was in confession, and I'd been away for a long time. And I learned later, it's not about me. They're thinking about their own sins. So when you go to church, realize that there are probably a lot of people there who've done just exactly what you have done. They've been away from the church, they've come back, and they're just as much prodigal sons and daughters as the rest of us are, and that you're just as welcome as anybody else. There's not a person in there, except for Jesus Christ himself, who has not absolutely made big mistakes and gone the wrong direction. And we're there not to judge each other as, oh, that person over there looks terrible, or that person's, hasn't been here for a while. We're here to welcome you back. And that's what I like about St. Raymond's Parish, for example. And that's not my doing. It was like that when I got there. They welcome everybody. It's just a very welcoming place. If you go into a church and you feel like everybody's looking down their nose, go to a different one. That's why they have more than one church within a radius. You're not stuck there. You can say, this isn't for me. I'm going over to St. Schnitzelhead's, and down the street. What do you think?
I agree with you. I have a question for Samantha. I know you're a young Catholic yourself, and we only have like a minute or two left. But what do you think the church should do to bring in younger Catholics to the church?
I think that a lot of younger people need to step up and step out of their bounds.
Mm-hmm.
For example, instead of young people want other young people to relate to. So if you are going out and stepping out of your comfort zone, as long as you're strong and steadfast in your beliefs, go out to young places where other young people hang out and preach the word,
Mm-hmm.
Because how is it that other young people are going to hear about it when they're not going to frequent a church, when they don't even have the idea of God really in their heart?
Yeah.
So if you can kind of go out to them, then that kind of, you can preach that and spread the word that way. But you have to be strong.
Yes.
And do as Jesus did and talk to everybody.
That's a really good point that you bring here. And I'm sorry, but we're going to have to pretty much end the show, I believe.
Yeah.
It came to an end. Samantha, it'd be great if she could come in as a
that'd
guest.
be nice, yeah. If you'd like to
co-host. I'm sure we could keep going on with the subject because, we do need a lot of young
There's a lot to talk about. And there's so many things that young people can do in our church.
Samantha, thank you so much for calling.
Yes.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
God bless. We're out of time. We'll see you next week.
Father John, once again, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming on. I'm really glad you came today, Hugo. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Don't let
Bye.
the opportunity of a lifetime pass you by. We at Today's Realty and Loans are here to make your dreams become a reality. Rates are at a record low. Now is the time to act. Call us at 562-862-0777. Free pre-approvals and credit report when you mention Father John. Today's Realty and Loans is here to simplify the buying and selling process. Please call us at 562-862-0777. And don't forget to ask about our no closing cost loans. Lo podemos ayudar en su propio idioma para compra y venta de propiedades y refinanciamientos.
Juice, I heard you were at a party the other day and the DJ completely destroyed the party.
That's right, Pac-Man. I was checking out his skills. They were not there. Didn't know how to MC. Lighting sucked. And guess what? There was cables showing everywhere. What's up with that?
You know what, man? Cable management is really important. And when a DJ can't talk on the mic, what's the point? A DJ really has to know how to rock the party.
He needs to MC. He needs to take control of the party. So, folks, listen closely. If you're in the market for a DJ, if you have an upcoming wedding, quinceañera, birthday party, any kind of an event where the DJ will make the difference, make sure to check us out, escevents.com.
Computer repair done right. Have a virus? Is your computer too slow? Call us at 562-381-2702. Let our team handle it. We can get your computer back to normal, and with our $19.99 optimization package, your computer will be better than ever. Call 562-381-2702 or visit our website, pcsmartteam.com. Hey Juice, when was the last time you went swimming at a friend's house?
Just the other day. Why? What's up?
Well, the other day I went to my friend's house to go swimming, but it was all green, man.
Oh, I know exactly what you need. You need to go talk to my friend Chris Anderson over at Chris Anderson Pool and Spa. He can help you out with algae, filter problems, weekly cleanings, pretty much anything to do with pools and spas.
What's that number, bro?
Give him a call at 310-500-7439. Again, the number is 310-500-7439. Hey Pac-Man, I've got a big problem. This weekend is my brother's prom, but we can't afford to buy him a tux.
What you need to do is go see my friend over at Downey Brennan Tux. They've got great deals on a huge variety of outfits. Anytime I DJ a wedding or a quince, I go to Downey Brennan Tux and always get hooked up. So go check them out and mention Emix Radio and they'll hook you up too.
That sounds perfect. Where can I find them?
Go check them out at go2rentatux.com. That is go2rentatux.com.
Poor Ben is only 20 years old, but has the spine of a 7-year-old man. Ben tried medicine, acupuncture, physical therapy, and even other chiropractors. Now, Ben, after only 6 weeks of care, is almost pain-free and is going back to the gym. A chiropractor is like a surgeon. You need to research and get references to see if they have a good set of hands. At the chiropractic office of Dr. Mariscal, we cater to everyone. And remember, by appointment or by chance, we're always glad to see you back. To set up an appointment, go to drmariscal.com.